Good afternoon, and welcome back to Extra Dirt, the podcast designed to help you and your life group put down deeper roots relationally and spiritually. I'd like to talk to you a little bit this week, very importantly, about the tenor of your group. What is the tone that your life group has taken on? You're back into the swing of things. You've met for probably a couple weeks now, and people are starting to get a sense of what this group is going to mean. Now, unfortunately, if you've started to set this tone by which one person or two people do the majority of the talking, that you almost have this dynamic of there's a teacher and a bunch of students, what you're going to do is you're going to unbalance your life group. You're going to have it become the life group of one person with a bunch of attenders. And those people, if they aren't given a chance to talk, to participate, to be that group, then they're never going to commit long term. They're never going to feel like it's something they own. They're going to feel like it's something that they go to. And so I want to encourage you, resist the urge to be a teacher. Resist the urge to fill every spare moment of silence with your own thoughts, with your own perspectives. Utilize silence. Ask the questions. If you're working through the study guide we prepare, let other people answer. Keep your mouth shut, even if you have great things to say, because what you need to do is you need to create a space where every person in the group feels like they're valued, that they matter, and that their responses are important to the group. If you've set this stage by which only one person or only two people talk, that's the way it's going to be for the whole rest of the year, and you don't want that. You want the group to become a dynamic set of relationships where everybody looks to everybody else for encouragement and for support and even for wisdom. And so I'd encourage you this week, make sure you do all you can to close your mouth and let some other people talk. Hopefully by now they've started to get a sense of who else is in their group, and people will begin to be a little bit more comfortable sharing, and you want to do all you can to encourage that. And the first step into that is to not speak yourself. At the end of tonight's group, what you're going to want to do, at the end of this week's group, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to offer the members of your group an opt-out. You're going to want to say to them, look, we understand that every person is not a perfect fit for every group, and it's possible that you've been a part of this group for a couple weeks and you're thinking, these are not my people, this is not where I'm going to fit, I don't get them, I don't understand them. And if that's the case, we want you to understand that it is okay to leave our group, but what we would ask is that if you're not going to continue with the group, that you make that decision this week. Just let me know. You can tell me in person or call or email this week and let me know you won't be back next week. We're not going to look down on you or treat you like scum or anything. We recognize some of you may not be a good fit for this group. But if you do decide to continue the group, then I want you to commit really to being here for the next 10 weeks through about the middle of December. Our session will end. And so you want to say either get out now or commit to a couple more months with us. Let this be your group. Get excited about it. Be here every week. Be faithful. Be consistent. And then at the end of the session, if you don't like it, then you can quit then. But really, you don't want, what you want to avoid is this whole nebulous, like every week, I'm not sure if I want to go to group or not. But you want people either to get out because they don't think it's going to be healthy for them, or to stay in but actually to commit and to make it your own group. Because what this group will eventually become, if the people in it connect, if they really begin to become transparent and to share and to love and to learn together, what's going to happen is that everyone in the group eventually will say, this is my group. It's not my leader's group, it's not so-and-so's group, but it's my group, it's my life group. And when that starts to happen, then you know you've got this critical mass, you've got this momentum, and then you as a bunch of believers, as brothers and sisters in Christ, can really begin to grow together. And so we encourage you, a couple things. Shut your mouth this week, clamp it down a little bit, let other people speak, draw other people out. Silence is golden. There's people who will feel uncomfortable and they'll answer because they don't want it to be quiet. And also, make sure you give your people an option out. If you've been meeting for at least 2 to 3 weeks, then say, look, at the end of tonight, you're going to want to say, either you're in or you're out. We don't ask them to commit for the rest of their life. We ask them to commit until the session ends in the middle of December. But you do want that commitment. You do want people to feel like this is something that they're agreeing to do so that they begin to take that ownership. In terms of content this week, we've got this incredible call to this most difficult commandment. It's really an idea that is so anti-world that you may find that some people are having a hard time stomaching it. You're going to get probably a lot of those, well, what about this and what about this questions. And some of those you're even going to look at it and you're going to say, you know what, it's not right that people would treat you that way, and so you shouldn't have to respond in grace. But the reality is that at the basis of everything Dan has taught this week and what our content for this week is about is the fact that God has treated us far better than any of us deserve. And so God asks us to treat others according to the way He has treated us, not according to the way that other person has treated us. But I respond to you in accordance with God's love and God's grace and God's mercy for me. And you're probably going to have to come back to that point again and again and again and say, look, right, according to the world's rules, this is not fair and this is not right, and here's how you should respond. But according to God's ways, according to God's rules, we are to love our enemies, not because they deserve it, but because God first loved us. And let's face it, my friends, if you're at all experienced with this whole following Christ thing, a lot of times doing what God asks is not easy, and it doesn't make sense in the eyes of the world. Sometimes it feels downright crazy or unfair, but God has called us to die to ourselves, to deny ourselves, to take up our cross daily, and to follow Him. And Jesus was the one who sat on the cross and looked down at people who were crucifying Him, and He said what? He said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And so that is my encouragement to you this week as you're continuing to flesh out these ideas. And David, who spares the life of Saul, a man who's trying to kill him, and then Jesus, who says, love your enemies. You're going to come to this realization that God calls us to something much higher than the world does. Everybody in the world treats people poorly if they've been wronged. It's just a natural response. But to be Christ-like, to be a Christian and a mature Christian, means that we treat people not as they deserve, not as they have treated us, but as God has treated us, with undying love and grace. And the reality is that you're never, ever going to be able to do that unless you first accepted and understood God's incredible love for you. And so if you can't find it in yourself to forgive those people, then take some time to look back at God and say, God, show me again the incredible love that you have given me. We're praying for you. We hope you have a great week with your small group, and I hope to see you back here again next week. Take care. God bless.